Before we proceed, I'd like to turn over the meeting to a student who will receive tonight's President Award. Please welcome to the dais, Ebony Corrudas.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Evanico Rubias, and I am a senior at Valle Verde Early College High School. It is my honor to call this order. Thank you.
Good evening, and welcome to the Ysleta Independent School District meeting of the Board of Trustees. The meeting of the Board of Trustees is a meeting of the board that the public is allowed to attend and provide the Ysleta ISD policy bed. We invite members of the public to make comment during the citizens' input portion. At the start of the meeting, legally the board may listen but may not enter into discussion on the matters on citizens' input. This meeting of the Board of Trustees is called to order at 6:02. We have a quorum with Trustee Chris Hernandez, with Trustee Connie Woodruff, with Trustee Cruz Ochoa, with Trustee Mike Dwyer, and myself, Charlie Bustillos. Trustee Hernandez, please introduce the JROTC this evening.
Thank you, President Bustillos. It has become a tradition to honor our nation at each of our board meetings by presenting the colors, reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, and then posting the colors. The colors tonight are being presented by the Junior ROTC Color Guard from Ysleta High School. The Color Guard commander is Asiri Renteria, Dylan Munoz, Infinity Herrera, Daniel Betran, and the pledge leader is Maria Isais. Will you please stand for the presentation of the colors, the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance, the Texas Pledge of Allegiance, and a moment of silence. Please remain standing until the cadets have departed.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now, please join me in the pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Order, arms, center, face, forward, march, left, 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 right, hard, halt, pose, colors, reset, arms.
Thank you. Dr. De La Torre, do we have recognitions and introductions this evening?
Yes, good evening, President Bustillos, members of the board, and esteemed guests. We do. I invite our Chief Human Capital Management Officer, Mrs. Bobby Russell Garcia, to lead in our recognitions and introductions this evening.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. De La Torre. We have 3 recognitions for you tonight. At this time, we ask all trustees to please come to the front of the dais. Audience members, please remain seated until all recognitions are complete. Thank you. Our first recognition honors Valle Verde Early College High School senior Ebony Covarrubias, who was recently named as the 2025 Youth Volunteer of the Year by Hospice El Paso. After completing nearly 50 hours of service, Ebony was honored at the group's annual fundraiser last month and praised for her extraordinary compassion, reliability, and genuine enthusiasm for service. Whether setting up events, helping at health fairs, or supporting administrative projects, Ebony was always the first to lend a helping hand, even if it meant walking long distances or braving the rain. She also participated in creating special bereavement envelopes for families who lost loved ones, a meaningful and delicate task that required empathy, compassion, and care for others. Hospice El Paso's volunteer manager said Ebony's commitment and positive energy shine with a maturity beyond her years, and her heart for service inspired everyone around her. We are proud to honor her with the November 2025 President's Award. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause for this month's President's Award winner, Valle Verde Early College High School senior, Ebony Covarrubias. She is accompanied by her principal, Claudia Canava Flores. Let's give it one more time for Ebony and the Spartans. Our second recognition honors 5 dance teams from Del Valle, Eastwood, Parkland, and Ysleta high schools that earned the highest Division I superior ratings at the Texas Dance Educators Association's Fall Dance and Drill Team Assessment. The UIL style competition consisted of 30 teams from 5 El Paso area school districts, with only 6 dance teams earning the highest Division I ratings. 5 of the highest rated teams came from our district, and we congratulate them on their hard work and achievement. Let's begin with our talented dancers from Del Valle High School. Please welcome the captains of the Angeles dance team, Danielle Gonzalez. Brianna Moreno. They are accompanied by sponsor Gloria Tovar and assistant principal Felipe Barraza. Let's hear it for the Conquistadores. Next, we have 2 exceptional dance teams from Eastwood High School. From the Saltatrix dance team, please welcome Captain Exilia Lujan. Leader Annalise Carrera. Co-leader Aubrey Wills. And Officer Mariah Gamillo. From the Trooperette team, please welcome Captains Elisa Baeza, Mia Cataldi, Natalie Contreras, Berenice Fraire, Alessandra Munoz, Michaela Ojeda, Daisy Olson, and Katie Talavera. The students are accompanied by sponsors Amanda Magana and Ursula Casas, along with Principal Rob Robledo. Congratulations to the troopers. Next, we have Parkland High School. Please welcome the captains of the outstanding Caperettes team, Amaya Galberth, Tamia Lee, they are accompanied by sponsor Alyssa Aranda and Principal Javier Salgado. Let's hear it for the Matadors. Our final dance team comes from the Ysleta High School. Please welcome the student leaders from the impressive Dancing Spirit team, Aubrey Luevano, Carolyn Medina, Camila Nevares, Yareli Pereira, and Ariel Sanchez. They are accompanied by sponsor Corina Valdez Trujillo and Principal Amelia Garcia. Congratulations to the Indians. Our final recognition tonight honors Kenya Castañeda, a senior at Parkland High School and the only student in El Paso selected as a scholar and ambassador for the national nonprofit group Leadership Enterprise for a Diverse America. Each year, only 100 exceptional students across the country are chosen to serve as a leadership scholar and ambassador. Through this program, Kenya spent 5 weeks this summer living in the dorms at both Yale University and Princeton University, participating in leadership training, standardized test preparation, college guidance, and community building as part of an all-expense-paid leadership institute. Kenya also received a $500 grant for a community service project she's integrating into her role as president of the school's early college club. Kenya is the founder and president of Matadors for Medicine, the school's first ever medical club, and is an active member of the National Honor Society, Red Cross Club, Academic Decathlon, and the Math Team. Her academic accomplishments have also earned her multiple College Board national recognition honors. Nearly 90% of leadership scholars and ambassadors go on to attend the top 100 colleges in the country, with most earning full financial support for tuition, room, and board. Tonight, we congratulate Kenya for her outstanding leadership, academic excellence, and drive to succeed. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to Parkland High School senior, Kenya Castañeda. She is accompanied by Assistant Principal Laura Carrera and Principal Javier Salgado. Congratulations to the Matadors. This concludes our recognitions for tonight. Thank you.
Sorry, man. It's because we had a bed. You want a Red Bull? Trustee Woodruff, do we have citizens' input this evening?
No, we don't have anyone signed up.
Thank you. Dr. De La Torre, do we have any presentations this evening?
Yes, President Bustillos, members of the board, our presentation this evening is led by Ms. Amy Sanchez, our internal audit quarterly report.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. Dr. De La Torre. I'm happy to present my internal audit quarterly update. Our last presentation was in August. From our 2025 plan, we have completed 8 additional campus audits. We've got 12 campus audits currently in progress. We've completed 1 non-campus audit, and we've got 3 non-campus audits in progress. From 2024 audit plan carryovers, 1 non-campus audit was completed. We continue to do our follow-up reviews from our audits from last year. We had 2 that were fully implemented, 4 that are partially implemented, and those that are partially implemented, we do continued follow-ups until they are fully implemented, and we've got 1 in progress. We have our fraud, abuse, and waste hotline. Since my last update, we have received 9 calls. 1 we have reviewed, it was not fraud related, and 8 are currently being reviewed by our office. Here's an update of our hours for the year. We are close to the end of the year. We continue to spend more hours in campus-related versus non-campus. However, we have increased our presence there. This is an update status of our overall audit projects for the year. Any questions?
Mr. Ochoa?
Oh, thank you, Amy. I know there's a lot of information in this packet, right? All I want to know is when you do these audits, they're done through, as far as they're done conducted in person. Is there certain questions and anything that I'm just interested in how the audit process is conducted.
It's a little different between the campus versus non-campus audits. We've got a pretty standardized process for the campus audits. We look at special education, documentation compliance, and cash handling, and we have a set questionnaire and set tests that we do. For non-campus, we get an understanding of the overall process, identify the highest risk areas, and then focus our objectives on there. So those are less prescribed.
How much data do you collect?
It depends on the project. For example, where one of our audits in progress is related to attendance right now, so we have quite a bit of data that we've gathered to analyze. So there is quite a bit of data analysis that we will do.
And normally, how long would one of these long audits take you?
It really varies, but maybe 500 hours.
Wow. And I know you've been at it for what, now 2 years, 3 years?
Ish. Mm-hmm.
Ish. Have you streamlined any other processes, or have you come up with anything that you think that that could be done to make your job easier?
I've got a great team. We've got a pretty solid process on our campus audits, though we do reassess that every year on where we prioritize the areas that we focus on. Our follow-ups, we've got a solid process there as well. We, at least once or twice a year, we do we do our strategic planning and assessment internally. So we do look for ways to improve, ways to change future audits. So it is a regular process that we do go through.
Okay. Well, one last question, and I didn't mean to take us away from that. I was just interested in how we've processed over the years. how far along we've come with doing these audits. I know that when you first started, there was a lot of systems or campuses or parts that of the Ysleta Independent School District that hadn't been audited in years. Have we come up to speed on all those?
On the campus side, yes, because there were several campuses that hadn't been reviewed. We are looking at all campuses at least once a year now. On the non-campus side, so the departments, there are still some departments that haven't been looked at recently, but when we do our annual risk assessment, we do review each of those, and we look at various factors, including turnover, the size of the department, the size of the budget, and determine if which ones we need to look at sooner rather than later.
So you go by your risk assessment?
Yes.
Okay. All right. No, I was just interested. I mean, we haven't spoke about that in years, so I was just interested where we're at now. I mean, the report, the process, everything seems to have come up to speed, and I congratulate you and your team on a job well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes. Mrs. Sanchez, reading over this, a few schools, SPED documentation, my question would be, do you emphasize more, whether it's personnel, whatever, when it comes to the special needs students? Would you kind of just talk to us about what you do and if they're correct?
Yes, what we look at there is documentation compliance. So we look to ensure that we compare the student's IEP, their individualized education plan, to the documentation that we have on record to make sure that the plan is met. And I'm particularly happy and encouraged with the progress that we've made there. We've worked pretty closely with Dr. Chacon and Mr. Medina and the SPED department, and have really actively worked at making improvements on documentation, different monitoring tools that can be available to principals. So I am happy with the progress that's made there.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you, Ms. Sanchez, so much. Yes, I want to piggyback off what Mr. Ochoa said. Thank you for what you and your team do. I know we meet once a month and we go through a lot of the things that we see here, and I appreciate your time and your team. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We will now discuss the agenda items as listed in the posted notice of the regular meeting of the Ysleta Board of Trustees for November 12, 2025, and related recommendation motions with the superintendent and executive cabinet, and receive responses to questions and/or requests for additional information through the superintendent in preparation for deliberation and action on said items at the November 12, 2025 regular board meeting of the trustees. Consent. Consider approval of minutes for the Board of Trustees Workshop Regular Board Meeting, October 15, 2025 at 6 p.m. Number 2, monthly financial statement for September 2025, including quarterly investment reports. Number 3, annual report for cooperative purchase fees. On to action items. Number 1, approve, designate non-business days for the 2026 public information calendar. Number 2, consider casting all 182 entitled votes for at least 2 candidates in the election of the Board of Directors for the El Paso Central Appraisal District, CAD, for 2 director positions, each with full 4-year terms, and consider approval of related resolution. I'd like to ask a question on that. Ms. Mata, can you kind of go over this, on how this works for us? Just so we understand a little bit better.
Good evening, Board President, Mr. Bustillos, board members, and Superintendent Dr. De La Torre. And you're asking specifically, Board
So when we
President,
go
about the
up to
process?
vote, I believe there's 4 candidates there. Can we, I guess we're entitled to 182 votes. Do we give them to all of them, one of them?
That's
We can
correct.
split them?
So as a taxing entity, you are entitled, Ysleta ISD's Board of Governance is entitled to those 182 votes, and that is determined by the value of property. As of last year, the difference between last year's property appraisals and this year's, that's how they reached the 182. And as far as the vacancy, as you may recall, during the last legislative session, the Texas Property Tax Code was amended to change up the way that CAD board directors are elected. So now we don't have the luxury, if you will, to vote for a representative for the Ysleta ISD and only the Ysleta ISD boundaries. Now you basically share your votes and cast your votes for the positions that are up for election. This year you have 2 positions that you can use your entitled votes to select. And those 2 positions, the reason why they're the only 2 positions on the ballot this year is because when the law changed last legislative session, they decided that in order to keep those positions staggered, those elections staggered, one set of board of directors would only serve for 1 year, and then the others would serve for a full term of 4 years. You may recall that Trustee Haggerty was one of those fortunate directors to have been elected for the full term. So now you're looking at a slate of 4 candidates that are all running for the 2 coveted full-term positions. So these are 4-year terms that begin in January of 2026. As far as the process, what you do with those 182 votes, we believe, and I consulted with Mr. Safi after reviewing the Texas Tax Property Code, that you can actually cast all of your votes for 1 candidate as opposed to 2 candidates if you really wanted to. But you do have 182 votes to slice and dice whichever way you would like. And the list of candidates is before you on the ballot.
It's right on your side. It was on the side.
So just
Should
to
be-
repeat, you say we can cast all of those votes for 1 candidate if we choose, instead of dividing it up?
You can, but you're entitled to vote for the 2 director positions that are up for election at this time.
Okay. Any questions?
We send in our votes as a board, though, right? Not as individual trustees?
That's correct.
So we have to agree, or we have to vote on what we want to do?
That's correct, Mr. Hernandez. The tax code requires the majority. So again, to answer Ms. Woodruff's question, you can vote for just 1 candidate. Again, it's 2 positions that are vacant come next month, end of next month. But if you really wanted to set aside those votes for just 1 candidate, and a majority of you agree, that's permissible under the code.
Any other questions?
I see 4 names on the ballot. I'm not familiar with any of these people. When are we supposed to vote, and do we have any information about these candidates?
So we have some general information about the candidates. What was shared to us by the executive director of CAD, Ms. Dinah Kilgore, was that the 2 incumbents are Jackie York and Tanny Berg. Marlene Bullard, you may be familiar with her. She's a board president at Tornillo ISD, and I believe she works with the Fabens School District. David Duran, I'm not too familiar with. I don't know if Mr. Safi might know David Duran. No. There's an attorney by the name David Duran, but we're not certain that it's the same person. And so to answer your question, Mr. Dwyer, how soon do you have to do this? The new law under the code requires that you submit your resolution and your ballot to CAD either at the first or second meeting after receiving the ballot. We received the ballot in October, I believe. So no later than next board, the regular board meeting, we'd have to.
You mean in December?
That's right, sir. Mhm. Yeah. The board
Any other
meeting.
questions?
The board meeting is before that.
Thank you, Ms. Mata.
Sure.
I guess when we come up, we have a discussion. When it comes up.
Is this when somebody would make a motion on who to give the 182 votes yet?
Not yet, Mr.
Oh, we're
Hernandez.
still in,
Workshop.
We're
Yes,
still in
sir.
the workshop.
Yes, sir, that's
But
correct.
when we get there, that would be the time to
We
make
can have a
motions and
discussion.
discussion
Yes,
on
sir.
who we want? Okay, thank you.
Sure.
So this, I just want to make sure I got this straight. We're going to do this in December, the vote.
No, sir. So the law, we put it on this month's agenda just to give us some leeway, because no later than actually December 14 do we have to provide CAD with a signed resolution and the ballot. So everything is due officially by the 15th, but in speaking with Ms. Kilgore, she asked that the board provide everything by the 14th.
And my issue is I don't know any of these people, and so I don't know who I'm voting for, and there's something off here with this. I don't know who they are.
Anybody else? Any more comments? No? Thank you. Number 3, declared 3 district properties as surplus as authorize their sale. Number 4, deadline for letters of intent to fill the school board vacancy for the single-member District 7 Del Valle area seat. Number 5, 2025 strategic action plan, excellence by design, sorry. And that's it. Okay. Consent. The order of the agenda has been approved. May I have an electronic motion on the remaining consent agenda items listed on the agenda as recommended by administration? Have a motion by Ms. Woodruff and a second by Mr. Hernandez. Please, please, I'm sorry.
Mr. President,
Go ahead.
I move that we approve the consent agenda items listed on this agenda as recommended by the administration.
Thank you. Please cast your votes. All votes have been cast. The results, 5 in favor, none opposed. Thank you. Now on to the pulled consent agenda items, none. Now on to the action items. Number 1, approve designated non-business days for the 2026 public information calendar. Is there any discussion? If there's no further discussion, may I have an electronic motion? We have a motion by Trustee Hernandez and a second by Trustee Woodruff.
Mr. President, I move to approve and designate non-business days for calendar year 2026 for the purpose of responding to public information requests under the Public Information Act and approve the respective calendar as presented.
Thank you. Please cast your electronic votes. All votes have been cast. 5 in favor, none opposed. Number 2, consider all 182 entitled votes for at least 2 candidates in the election of the Board of Trustees for the El Paso Central Appraisal District, CAD, for 2 director positions, each with a full 4-year term, and consider approval of related resolutions. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President. I would like to say, I know, Mr. Dwyer, you don't know any of the people. One of the people that I do know on this list is Marlene Bullard. She has been a dedicated school board member for many years. She's served at TASB. She served in lots of different positions. She served as the president of the West Texas School Board Association when we all meet together. And I really feel like that she would be doing a really good job at this position. So.
I also like to comment on Ms. Bullard. I know she works really hard for the districts in our area, Region 19. I always see her at our meetings, at the meetings for the small districts and all districts. And she puts in the work, so I agree on Ms. Bullard.
I appreciate the comments from my colleagues on Ms. Bullard. The one candidate that I am aware of is Ms. Jackie York. I know she has been serving honorably on the CAD. She has the appropriate experience. She does work with the greater area El Paso Association of Realtors, Gephardt. I appreciate her being vocal, her personal frustrations with the CAD and being able to voice that there. And thus, I'd like to make a motion to split the 182 votes between Ms. Bullard and Ms. Jackie York.
I'll second that.
Have a second by Ms. Woodruff. Please cast your electronic votes. All votes have been cast. We have four yes and 1 no. Thank you. Number 3, declare 3 district properties as surplus and authorize their sale. Is there any discussion? Yes. Do we know who's looking to buy the Tejas and the Play-Doh? Do we know?
So no, sir, this is the very first step in a fairly long process
Oh, okay.
to even solicit or
Okay,
send out
perfect.
offers for responses.
Do we have
So we'll-
anybody?
No,
for
sir.
those?
So
Okay.
first, you must declare that they are surplus properties, then I obtain appraisals, then we issue a solicitation and
Mhm.
request offers to purchase. So right now, I have no one expressing interest.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
I just want to say, this is not exactly a question, it's just more of part of a discussion that I think we need to have. You know, I think it's good that we're putting these properties up for sale, but I attended a meeting for District 7 with Lily Lamon last week, and the main topic of discussion, even though this was the city, was what is Ysleta going to do with these properties? And so I feel like somehow or another we need to, I don't really know what we do to calm the fears of these people. I said the same things that I always say, and that is that if anything is sold, you will have the chance, because it has to go to the zoning committee, whatever it is. And they were really not moved by that. They said that only the neighborhood association presidents get advised of these meetings like that. And I kind of thought that it was the whole community. And they said, actually, there's a limited area that they send a notice out to. Are they wrong about that? I don't know. I just feel like there was a lot of fear and a lot of misinformation too. They were talking about why didn't we give these to nonprofits and just let them, run their nonprofits out of these buildings. And I had to explain to them, we can't give district property away to anybody. It's bought with taxpayer money and it has to be sold. Plus, I also told them we need the money. It's good for the district to get some money into addressing the issues that we have. So I don't know, if anybody has any ideas of what we could do to kind of calm the waters a little bit with this.
So I can say, Ms. Woodruff, that city planning commissions are open meetings. They're posted, and they are held, I believe, on the third Thursday of each month. And I can correct that if I'm mistaken, but they are publicly posted with formal
Ms. Cameron,
agendas, just like a.
It's kind of hard to hear.
Is that better?
That's a lot better.
Okay,
yes.
sorry. These are the City Planning Commission meetings where you would go for rezoning and to offer public input are publicly posted meetings just like a city council meeting. I believe they're on the third Thursday of the month, but anyone who's interested can see those meetings just like they would look for a city council agenda. Additionally, they're required to post signage when they're ready for rezoning. Now, mind you, that's a long way down the road. The first step, obviously, is to declare that we don't need them for formal instruction any longer. And then we move through, as I said, a fairly lengthy process to obtain appraisals and to offer them to the public for sale. Other than that, we've always stood willing to work with the city or any other entity that has an interest in these properties. We have had some interest by nonprofits, but to your point earlier, we can't just gift them. There has to be a public benefit to the use of the property if we were to arrange, something less formal than a sale, more like a partnership with the city or the county or any other political subdivision. Anything to add, Ms. Mata?
I just want to add, Ms. Woodruff, that the commission meets every other Thursday at 1:30. And I can't recall specifically the radius that the law requires for purposes of notification of any petition to rezone a property. I want to say it's 100 yards potentially. But I do recall I've received on my end complaints about, community members not receiving adequate notice when a rezoning petition is being considered by the commission. But I do think it's a limited radius or circumference from that property.
That's what they were indicating. It's not very far into the area. And then they were saying that neighborhood association presidents in that area would receive that zoning information, that they would also receive it, so they could disperse that amongst their members.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it was 300 feet. Mr. Hernandez, do you remember that one for Ramona? Was it 300 feet that they were saying that the radius that they have to inform?
Yeah, and I believe that is the amount. I'd like to thank Trustee Woodruff for her comments of concern right now. I know many of my constituents share the same concerns. That radius, President Bustillos, whatever it is, I agree with the residents, it's too small. I think it's important that we also remember there's what we're required to do, and there's what we can do. And I think what we're required to do is not adequate in the year 2025. I believe the requirement is still put a posting in a newspaper. And that suffice the notice. A newspaper that nobody reads anymore. Certainly not, the printed version, and you're looking for that public notice. I've never seen a public notice listed on an online publication saying that they post this. Nobody knows where to look. The only people that are notified are neighborhood association presidents, and they can notify their members, but most people aren't in a neighborhood association. I'm going to bring up the same idea again. I know what we can do is we can notify residents on our own accord, unless if there's something by law that would prevent us from doing our own notification, going beyond what is required and helping calm the concerns of our constituents. There's a lot of concern that can be put to rest by simply just reaching out and getting them involved and not ignoring them and just making the effort to do the outreach, as opposed to them feeling like they're surprised and us saying, well, we did everything that's required and that's on the city. So I think what Trustee Woodruff was getting at is that's not good enough for many of our constituents, and she's wondering, what can we do with, and it's hard to think of something, but again, I'll go with the text message. I'll go with any notice we can. Maybe that text message is a community meeting where we're able to answer specific questions, talk about nonprofit partnerships, or why we can and why we can't do something. I hope we can all consider this as a district and know that it's very important to parents and community members, the people that live within our district boundaries, to be involved in these decisions, even if they don't have children, even if they don't have family members that are employees of the district. It's still important that we involve them. So there's nothing that can be concluded today, but I hope this will open the door for conversation and a possible outreach from administration on what we can do, particularly with these 3 properties that we're discussing now. Because you're right, Ms. Woodruff, I'm sure we're going to hear it. Mr. Bustillos, as well. So thank you for letting me speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? No further discussion. May I have an electronic motion? We have a motion by Mr. Hernandez, second by Mr. Dwyer.
Mr. President, I move to approve declaring the following district properties: Plato Academy at 8441 Alameda, Fine Arts 8455 Alameda, and Tejas School of Choice 7500 Alpha, as no longer needed for long-term district purposes, and authorize the superintendent to offer the properties for sale, subject to all legal requirements and board approval.
All votes have been cast with 5 yes and none opposed. Thank you. On to number 4, deadline for letters of interest to fill the school board vacancy for single-member District 7 Del Valle area seat. Is there any discussion?
Well, Mr. President, if I could take this time to ask, do we have any plans on how we're going to do this? Do you have any ideas to put forward, or would this be the time for us to put forward our ideas?
I believe that we have a system that's already in place, correct?
Yeah, we've developed a process. We've collected questions. We've reduced the number of questions down to 4 questions that the applicants, the candidates, can respond to in about a 20-minute period. We're recommending that all 6 board members sit in on the interview. We've introduced the same grading system that we use when we hire employees. And the only thing left to do is, I've spoken with some of you. I believe there are 2 that I haven't spoken to that I'm going to invite in next week to go through it. And at that point, you can look at the questions. You can look at how you rate the candidates, and at that time, you can give input or offer input in terms of things that you like about it and what you may not like about it.
Okay, thank you for saying that. So I was about to say, hey, wait a minute, I never had a chance to put any input. And this is the first I'm hearing about.
Right.
People have submitted their questions and they've been made aware. And I guess I'm one of the two that was not reached out to.
Not yet, because I can only reach out to, I can't reach out to a quorum.
You can reach out to all of us individually.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I would have appreciated being reached out to with everybody
Yes.
else.
Next week.
And yeah, as soon as possible, please.
Next week.
I haven't
Any other
been reached out to either. Are we looking at December the 10th? It says workshop board meeting for these interviews?
I believe so.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
So the workshop would start, I believe we thought 5:30 and 5, and run for about 90 minutes. Those would be the interviews, and then we'd start the board meeting 6:30. From 5:30 to 6, the interviews, 6 o'clock the board meeting starts, and we have an executive session as part of the agenda, and then the board has the option of taking a vote after the executive
Afterwards,
session
yes.
if you arrive at someone that you're interested in pursuing.
Yeah, so the process is, you want to make sure that everybody was involved in it. When we do this, obviously, everybody's going to have their say. Once you see the forms that you get, you're going to see where we're going to go with this. And everybody here is going to have a say in it. I believe you'll like that.
Okay, I mean, I'm just going to say for future reference, I don't see any reason why me and Mr. Dwyer were left out, why we couldn't have been reached out to individually, emailed, and given the opportunity to be involved in the initial process. Now we're walking into something that's already been set up.
Well, yeah, we're setting it up so that way I can have everybody involved in it. So that way we were going over the process. How can we do this so every board member is involved in this process? So that's what we were coming up with to be able to bring up to you in a further date.
The interviews will not be public, will they? They'll be before the board meeting?
No, there'll be, so we were going to have like Dr. De La Torre said, we're
Or
going
was
to
it
have
a
the meeting
public
before,
workshop?
and then we go into closed session.
So we will be interviewing them publicly? Okay, but then we have our discussion privately in closed session?
It's not interviewing them.
No, not publicly. We're going to be in closed session. We interview. Then once we go through we tally the scores, then we go over it, and then we'll have a
So
discussion.
the interviews are in closed session? Okay.
Correct.
Everything's in closed session?
Closed session, yes.
The only thing
Then
that's
we'll come-
public is the vote?
Correct. And then we come out and vote. Well, we just approve whatever comes out on the tally comes up, then we approve it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Can I just say something really quick?
Absolutely.
So as a board member who's been involved in this process before, I believe that it is going to be much more directed to, the last process I was in was very subjective. It wasn't objective.
Objective,
Yeah, it wasn't objective for that we have these forms that show who everyone is choosing as their first choice and all of that. It was just kind of, okay, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And that's the reason why I'm really impressed with the way that this is being done and handled, the way that the district actually hires people, which to me, like I said, I like it being more objective instead of just subjective. So.
Any other discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
I believe at this time we have about either 6 or 7 people who are interested in this position. And I believe we have that many people because of Mr. Hernandez's idea about putting this out, advertising. So in that regard, I'd like to thank Dr. De La Torre and all the district employees who are in charge of advertising the Del Valle area seat. I've read the letters of interest, and I'm happy to say we have some highly qualified applicants. I am in agreement with making November 20th, 2025 the deadline for the letters. I feel that will give us time to tighten down all of the necessary procedures. We can discuss if we like them and they're satisfactory to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. With no further discussion, may I have an electronic motion? A motion by Mr. Mike Dwyer, second by Ms. Woodruff.
I move to add a deadline of Thursday, November 20, 2025, 2 p.m. for anyone interested in submitting a letter of interest in being appointed as a school board trustee for the single-member District 7 Del Valle area, and to schedule the board's interview of the candidates during the December workshop and the announcement of the board's appointment at the January 2026 meeting.
All votes have been cast with 5 in favor, none opposed. Thank you. Number 5, the 2025 Strategic Action Plan, Excellence by Design. Is there any discussion?
Well, would anybody like to speak on this a little bit? And my question is going to be, how are we involving our financial planning? We all know the financial situation we're in. We're supposed to have a 2-year plan that addresses that. I assume that that's probably addressed in here. I don't know if somebody could speak to it, please.
Yes, sir. So I think if you look at page 58, you can see that we've summarized it at a pretty high level in terms of knowing whether or not we accomplish the goal. And so 3.1 says that annually we will spend less than we budget. So whatever the adopted budget is, then our goal is to spend less than that. We have very little control over the revenue side of that equation, but I believe this encompasses the intent with a fairly comprehensive goal. 58. And then 3.2 is to earn a first rating of standard achievement or higher. So standard achievement would be a grade of C. As I mentioned during the budget presentations, most likely our first rating for the most current year is a B. That is the first B we've ever received. We have, since first was put into place, we've always had an A, superior achievement rating. We are going to drop to a B. We already have. And I foresee that we will be a C before we turn the ship and bring it back to financial stability. That being said, this is a 5-year plan, so by the end of 5 years, we expect to continue to earn a C rating and hope that we will be able to turn it fast enough that we can be back to a B within 3 years, and then an A again within 5. But this is measurable and it's reasonable.
Okay, so the goal then is every time this board adopts a budget, the goal is to spend less than what was adopted. Is there a certain amount that we need to spend less than to not use all of our unassigned balance within the next 2 years?
So if you think about a balanced budget, if we brought it to you and it was a balanced budget recommendation, then it would exactly match the revenue we perceive or we forecast will receive. If you spend the entire adopted budget, you have spent all of the revenue earned that year. So much of it depends on what the board adopts each year, which is why I don't want to say we're going to add this much to fund balance, because I don't have that much control over the end result. I can guide you and I can recommend it, but if you adopt a budget every year with a $22 million deficit, then we will use all of our fund balance within the 3-year period.
Is our unassigned fund balance about $11 million right now?
Yes, I have the financial statements with me.
And we're
but
facing a
keep in
deficit,
mind,
and we approved a budget that has a deficit of 22 million?
we approved a budget with a deficit of 22 million, but keep in mind that fund balance changes every month. You measure it at the end of the fiscal year. And so right now, our fund balance is much depleted because we haven't received any property tax revenues, and we didn't get any school foundation payments in August. We received our first payment from the state in September. So we've depleted our cash. But that's normal. We expect it, and it happens every year. You'll see property tax revenues come in now between December and February, so our cash will replenish itself and our fund balance will grow. But what we're looking at is end-of-year fund balance for each of the fiscal years within this plan.
You said that's highly dependent on what this board adopts.
Yes, sir.
But will you ever come to this board with a recommendation that will put us in danger of depleting our entire unassigned fund balance?
No.
And we're taking into consideration the expected revenues that come later. I understand this is normal for this time of year, and the revenues come later. But with all that into account, you would never recommend a budget that would put this district in danger, right?
Until this year, I have never recommended anything but a balanced budget, and yet that's not what we've adopted for the past 4 years. This year, I came to you and said, I can no longer balance the budget. And the best I can do is tell you that if we proceed under this plan, which is a very aggressive plan, actually, you're going to spend 22 million of fund balance, which was around 80 million. And I anticipate you'll spend fund balance next year. I don't think there's any way not to continue spending fund balance for at least 2 years, given the constraints within which we're operating, which is to protect our staff and our students, to make sure our student experience does not suffer in any form, way, or fashion.
Yes, Ms. Cameron, everything you said is correct, and as I remember it, and I appreciate all the work you're doing. I know you give us our financial update every month, and you'll raise any red flags immediately to us. I'm just speaking a word of caution to all my colleagues. For me, the budget that we have to adopt next, that work starts now, and that's what I'm speaking to. So thank you.
And I'd just like to add that both President Bustillos and Trustee Ochoa have asked for an update on the financial stabilization plan this December. So next month, you're going to get an interim report on how some of the strategies that we put in place early in the 2025 fiscal year, calendar year, what impact that's had, and then what impact losing 1,402 students from last year to this year has had, and where we are currently in terms of a deficit that we're still chasing, and what we're going to recommend we do as soon as we get back from the holidays to start reducing and mitigating having lost 1,400 students at about $10,000 a student generates a unanticipated $14 million delta that we weren't taking into consideration at the time. So on one end, we've done a lot to reduce the $22 million. And then on October 31st, which is snapshot date, we learned that the net loss from 2024-25 to 25-26 is 1,402 students. So now we have to push the revenue down because they never arrived, and it almost wiped out everything that we did early in 25. And so we're better than we were then, but nowhere near as good as we thought we'd be if we would have lost the 1,800 students that we anticipated instead of the 1,400 students. And in talking to my colleagues, not just in this region, but around the state, anyone that is in a metroplex, whether it's Austin, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, Los Angeles, the Bay Area, is coming to grips with such a significant reduction in the birth rate that we don't have an answer to. And the best way to describe it is we had almost 3,000 graduates in June leave the system, and we've seen 1,600 kindergartners enter the system. So on the bottom end, half the number of students are coming into our school system as are leaving our school system on the other end. And so, again, using positive attrition, voluntary notice incentives so that we know sooner rather than later who is going to leave, and then allowing us to start eliminating that expense is what we'll have to do for the next 2 years to get back to presenting this board with a balanced budget. The tricky part, and that's related to why it's important that we sell these properties, is that even though it's one-time money, it gives us cash flow to put in the unassigned fund balance to help us get through the tough times over the next couple of years. And it's going to directly impact Mr. Hernandez's area, because both the Fine Arts Facility and Plato are in the Ysleta area, and the other Texas, I think, is in the Riverside area. So if y'all want to get together and feel like we could put together some kind of a campaign that, yes, we're selling it, this is the process, this is how you get involved, the district is willing to help with that.
Thank you. Anybody else?
If nobody else wants to speak, if I just may, thank you, President Bustillos, Trustee Ochoa, for taking the initiative and making that request. I think that's very important. Thank you, Dr. De La Torre, for all the work that you and your team are doing. I want to be clear that you all know that I know this is a challenge that this district is not facing alone. I think it's apparent it's a challenge that nobody has an answer for, yet I think we know that this district is doing the best, certainly in El Paso. I know your capabilities, Dr. De La Torre, and the capabilities of all your cabinet members and everybody here at the district, and I think we're going to be fine. I know it's going to be a tough 2 years, but I trust that we're going to get it done and everything's going to be good. I know I sound tough sometimes, but I want to recognize that it's a challenge faced all over the country, and I think we're doing pretty darn good considering the circumstances. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Trustee Hernandez. I'd like to piggyback off of that. I want to thank you for the strategic plan. You know, when you have the strategic plan obviously drives us on for the future. And obviously in 2015, 2020, and now 2025, we've seen a lot of success, especially for this district as an A-rated district. And I want to thank everybody that was involved in this. I know Trustee Ochoa was always at these meetings, and all the parents that volunteered to be part of this, and especially and also for Dr. De La Torre, his team, Dr. De La Torre himself, and this board, who is, you know, like Mr. Hernandez says, is tough. I think this board is tough. Our teachers are tough. We are grit, and this district is grit, and we're going to get through this. And I just thank everybody for their patience and their time and being able to understand and believe in what we're doing. So I just want to say thank you. With no further discussion, may I have an electronic motion? A motion by Trustee Ochoa and a second by Trustee Dwyer.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I move to approve the Vision 2030 Excellence by Design Strategic Action Plan outlining the annual targets and cumulative 5-year goals in early childhood literacy, mathematics proficiency, and college, career, and military readiness CCMR plans as required by the Texas state law.
All votes have been cast with 5 in favor and none opposed. Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you.